Okay, let's kick this off. So don't want to keep us here too long. Um, I actually got something elsewhere that I might want to be. So let me do this real quick. Hopefully, I'm gonna check back on the sound level. Hopefully, it's great. Cause shout out to all the people that don't do the ASMR thing. Hearing too much of my lip motion going on there in the prior videos. So I'm going to have to adjust that. Don't want y'all getting too intimate with all my lip smacking sounds and whatnot. So I wanted to bring this topic up today because it's been on my mind for a while. I mean, I've always talked about it. If you're a black man, you understand what it is I'm about to talk about. And also, it is one of the main reasons why I've um, made the decisions I've made in my life. Um, for the better. Usually, well, I can't say for the worst because I can't really say it was for the worst because I didn't do it, but nothing better would have really come from it. But unforced errors. Unforced errors. Why is this a concern? Why is this a problem? Why is this relevant? Why? So I do want to talk about that and let's get to it.
Put some respect on my name. You understand me? When y'all saying my name, put some respect on it.
Because this is something that haunts black men. It's one of the things. The first being society itself. I made it funny. But this thing it more so hunts black men from within. With your psyche, with how you see yourself, with how you operate within society. And unfortunately, in light of some new information, which the suicide rates typically are usually favored white men in society, but now, thanks to Dr. Tia San Johnson and some recent studies and information that came out, it has shown an increase in young black men or black men in general. And I want to talk about unforced errors and why these things, um, why this plays a big part in the current state of black men today. So, what is an unforced error? So, if I were to tell you what an unforced error is, pretty much an unforced error is essentially if you were to choose to do something that results in unfavorable results, or if you were to do something and an effect of you doing that is negative. So, you make a decision and there's negative consequences upon yourself. It's an unforced error, and you do it because you choose to do it, not because of you had to do it, not because it was no, you did it because you chose to do it. Similar to like a turnover in basketball. Well, if you're just dribbling down the court and you kick the ball off your feet, like Russell Westbrook or somebody else, that's an unforced error because that's an error on your part. You lost track of the ball. For whatever, you had a slip in judgment. You had a slip in and concentration, and you've turned the ball over unforced. Nobody was approaching you, nobody was pressuring you, nobody was trying to get up in your grill to make it difficult. No, you did something wrong for that in that split second, and then the ball came down, hit your foot, hit the side of side of your leg or whatever, and then it bounces out of bounds, and you got a turnover, an unforced error. So I do want to make it clear it's unforced, meaning it's a choice that you make inherently because you choose to do it, not because of any outside influence that can impact your life. Meaning, someone's pressuring you, like your parents only, like your parents keep you locked up in a basement or something like that. Which unfortunately, there was a young man like that. Actually, there's a couple of young men like that whom we're hearing stories about them. One of whom passed away. Um, but we don't choose our parents. However, once you're 18 and you get out of your parents' house, now you can make choices, you can make decisions in the world outside of your parents' influence, outside of your parents' household. I'm not gonna lie, I do know some people, your living situation is a little different, difficult, whatever you want to call it. You might not be able to have somebody's couch to sleep on, so you have to live at home with your parents. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. That's why I do know some people that's actually why they go to the military, because they are able to get out of their house or wherever they're coming from. If it's an unfavorable situation, they are actually able to go to the military. And actually, shout out to my grandfather. I was actually having a talk um, with him and one of my uncles about that yesterday. Both of them are well, I think no, not my uncle, but my grandfather and pretty much almost everybody on my dad's side of the family was military. So, shout out to the vets. Salute to y'all. And you know, I was asked, why didn't I choose to go? And I was just like, well, I chose to go the college route, and then eventually I went from college to blue collar. That's my story. And because military, it was always an option. I just chose not to do it because I was like, I was aware of it. I knew I already have family that did it, but for me, it wasn't. I was struggling with society at the time. I still am. And give me a second. Mama's coming. Little one gotta go down for bedtime. Well, I had a different route because not everybody goes to the military, right? But I had a different route, and I didn't want to serve in the military, right? I had my reasons, but I want to talk to the guys where I know I grew up with some guys that just chose to do the wrong thing. And I'm going to talk about a couple of the unforced errors at this moment because there's some things where you have to come to terms that you can't change the world, you can't change society, um, you can't change to some extent other people, but you can change yourself. You can very easily change yourself and how you perceive the world. And actually, depending upon how successful and great you become, then you might be able to change the world and or society, right? Maybe. Now, that being said, I do want to talk about this first thing, and it it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I am guilty of this. I did say earlier that my therapist turned me into a savage because of it, and the first thing being spreading yourself too thin. Let me get that out of the way. Spreading yourself too thin. Unfortunately, um, hopefully I'm not having any internet issues. Unfortunately, young black men today, I know you guys are. trying to take care of mom, you're trying to take care of auntie, trying to take care of all these people in your life whom, mind you, they made their decisions in their lives as well. And it might not have turned out for the better. So mind you that. But you're paying bills for your family and your aunties and them, and you're spreading yourself too thin. So now you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing for yourself. You're not building upon yourself, and then you essentially go flat, meaning your progress flattens out because you spread yourself too thin. And for those guys, like I said, I love my family, but I know that I have to build myself up, make myself and my family, my household into something, I guess something they can admire and respect and look up to, because what you guys got to understand is you can't save everybody, especially people that don't want to save themselves. We all know those stupid cousins, siblings, sometimes even our parents, where you literally give them the advice, don't do that or do this. You know it's going to help them because you've looked into it and everything, and then they, for whatever reasons, they choose not to do it or choose to do it, going against your best advice. And then when they fuck it up, then they come back to you and then ask for your help to try to fix the damn situation that you tried to prevent to begin with. I'm pretty sure we've all been there. So you have to understand that one of the things that I had to kind of come to terms with is, now mind you, I don't mind helping somebody if they're willing to help themselves, right? It's just you have to realize that when someone's not in the right space in their own mind to help themselves, it's, despite your best efforts, you can't change someone or what they're going to do. You can't change somebody else. They have to be willing to change themselves. That's why you have to realize, like, okay, you can't spread yourself too thin, especially with the individuals that aren't trying to help themselves. That's an unforced error. You're choosing to spread yourself out too thin, and you're suffering because of it, because you could be far greater than you could be. And then guess what happens? When you spread yourself too thin, you don't progress like you're supposed to, and then you're up here trying to help all these other people. Now they're gonna clap back at you because, hey, look at yourself. You ain't doing too great either. uh, oh boy.
Shut up!
But it's true. You could be so much greater focusing on yourself, and then allow. Remember when remember one of those earlier broadcasts I did when I said stay out the bottom of the barrel, and I was like, the smarter people, because crabs in the barrel mentality, they cling on to you, trying to pretty much allow you to pull them. Nah, smart people cut those people off. And when I say cut them off, I mean you're not dragging their dead weight. If they want to follow you, they follow you, but you're not dragging their dead weight. However, another thing smart people talked about, I also talked about not just, the ones that cling on to you and then they think you're going to pull their dead weight, you cut them off and then they have to fend for themselves or they have to follow you best they can. Or they grab onto you and then they help push you through, meaning they're along for the ride. So you can guide them, but when you're guiding them and they're behind you pushing, you're guiding them and then they're putting in the effort too on their part, and then y'all can all help one another get out that barrel. That's the difference. So those the ones that cling on to you like that, where they're actually pushing and contributing, those are the ones you actually allow them to cling on, and then y'all keep moving forward. It's the ones where they think they're gonna grab onto you, and then you're going to pull them. No, those are the ones where if they expect you to drag their dead weight, cut them off. Now y'all can push and pull each other to help one another out, but if they're not contributing at all, meaning you're just straight up dragging them through the process, cut them off. You're spreading yourself too thin. Unforced error, because that's a decision you have to make. That's a decision you have to make. The next one, the next unforced error, guys, we gotta talk about the drugs. We gotta talk about the illegal drug use. You want to know one of the reasons why I stayed away from drugs, even tobacco? Like I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I never chewed tobacco, even though my damn grandfather, shout out to him, rest in peace, he chewed faithfully. He faithfully chewed tobacco just about damn near every day of his life that I knew him, right? Which of course I was, that was after retirement. I met my grandfather probably in like his late 50s or whatever, when I was born, right? But I stayed away from smoking tobacco and doing illegal drugs. I stayed away from that completely. One reason, I had heard about the dangers of it, I never saw myself as being the one, getting hooked on it or whatever like that. Like I never saw myself as doing that. But if it was one thing I did know as a young black man in America, I knew the history of how they use these illegal drugs to lock my ass up. And I said, now mind you, shout out to my stepfather as well. He made it very clear he had a solid stern fist in the house before he was kicked out by my mother. Shout out to him. But he made it very clear, shout out to my father as well. Absolutely no drugs whatsoever. I never seen my father, my stepfather, I never seen any of them do any illegal drugs. Whether or not he partook of it outside the household, inside the household, they both of them led by example. Never saw it. Never saw it at all. Same thing with the gun. Now I did find my I did find my dad's gun in his glove box one day, but that's because I was doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was messing with stuff. But I never saw an actual gun outside of that moment, them playing with some guns around the house. Never. Never. They led by example. I knew how illegal drug use was pretty much utilized to prey upon the black community. The three strikes, the pipeline, the school to prison pipeline that they talk about, which is very true. They would just set you up. It would set you up. Now, mind you, I also told that story where well, let me do a little story time because I don't. I still. I'm pretty sure I said this before. Let me do a story time now. Now, because and there's some people that might know me that watch this, I got to keep it. Now, mind you, I might change some names and details of the story, but the context of it will be very true. So I was volunteering, for this cleanup service, right? Where we go around for a week and clean up, um, stuff for the environment, right? And it was me and some younger, because this was when I was in college, so I think I might have been, like maybe 20 when I started, and I was around some other young men. All of them were white, actually. I was the only black dude at the time, and I remember we were sitting around, on a break, and you know how guys do, like we're all kind of from different areas, and they tell stories about each other. And there was one part where they started getting into some stuff where I was like, I knew I was completely out of my element. I was like, I have no input in this whatsoever. And they started talking about how they did drugs. And I will never forget this. I will never forget this because, these guys were going to Ivy League schools, um, because, fairly good schools, very prominent, top, you know, 20, 30 uh, school systems in the country, to be medical professionals, uh, six figures, seven figure jobs or whatever, like on pretty much on track to do what they're supposed to do because, they had a certain factor that I'm going to talk about later, right? The family factor, right? So their family set them up, and they were pretty much on track to do what they're supposed to be doing, right? And I never forget how all of them were talking about how they all partook in illicit drug use. It went from marijuana, that was like the baby, and then it was cocaine, and then it was, I think somebody mentioned something about crack, and then LSD, and then meth, and then ecstasy, and now mind you, they telling all they little stories about when they got high and that whatnot with it, and all this. Now mind you, all these dudes is like under 19. Because mind you, like some of them were about to go to college that year, and the others were younger. Like they were still seniors in high school. And these dudes up here talking about doing all these damn drugs. And I remember I was kind of now mind you, while they're talking and whatnot, I'm sitting in the back. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I mean, I know white people did drugs, but let's just be real. Even when I was around, because mind you, I went to a majority black high school. I was raised around, majority black people, like most people. You're raised around the people you look like usually. Um, at the time when I was growing up, I was surrounded by the hood pretty much. Even though my street was one of the streets where most of the people on my street were there wasn't a bunch of shooting and all that going on my street, right? But around the block there would be. And even the students that I went to school with, they would only really talk about smoking weed. All that extra stuff that people be talking about, like they were talking about, like the LSD and the ecstasy and the I think it was like what is it? It might have been like those prescription pills and whatnot. And like I don't remember, even the black people in my neighborhood that I was growing up around. I don't even remember them talking about it. It was mostly just weed, maybe some crack and cocaine, maybe, but mostly weed. And I was thinking, okay, they talking about this hardcore shit like meth and whatnot. Like this is some crap. Like, and then it was like just nonchalant. It was like recreational for them. They were talking about how one dude was talking about how he almost got caught by the cops, or his family. He had a family member that was in the cops, and they was like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be doing that." And he pretty much smacked him on the wrist and sent him on about his business and took his drugs from him. And I remember when he told that story, I was like, if that was me, that motherfucker would have locked me up. If that was me, he would have definitely been trying to contact my folks. He would have tried to been contacting my school or the school system to try to put me in juvie or some crap. Like, yo, if that was me, if I would have got caught with some darn crack cocaine or methamphetamine in my pockets or some crap like that, they wouldn't have been like, oh, you ain't supposed to be doing these drugs. No, they would have been like, nigga, go to jail. Like, no, this is bad. This is illegal. You're not supposed to have this. Of course, my family would have been looking at me sideways because they already know that there's a no drug policy in my household anyway. But let's just say if there was, I mean, they would have been trying to put my ass away. Period. And I thought about it. Now, mind you, I didn't feel, I thought about that myself because, mind you, I didn't say this at the time, but I was thinking this at the time in real time because, to them, that was their life. That was normal for them. Some of them had close encounters. That one dude, he did get caught, and then, it was pretty much a slap on the wrist, and they just took his drugs from him or whatever, you know. And then I'm just like, yo, like, this is exactly why I stay away from that shit because I know I would be treated very much differently than all of them. I would have had my ass locked up. Period. 17, 18, 16, it doesn't matter. They would have been looking to lock me up or take me somewhere to put me in that pipeline. I know this because I knew some dudes who were constantly being written up and constantly in and out of school because of it. Weed, and that's just for the weed. I pretty much got proposed to smoke weed at my school every day. Every single day. Just about. Hey, you want to go blow something? You want to go? I got that fire. Y'all know y'all know how they hey, I remember a dude approached me approached me, I think it was, like, last year or something like that, and he like, "Hey, I got that fire," and I'm just like, "Nigga, do I look like I smoke?" I'm sorry, I usually don't use the N word, but I'm sorry, I had to I was like, "Nigga, do I look like I smoke? I'm up here, business casual, what like, bro, I don't smoke." And that's what I have to say, like, "I don't smoke. No, I don't smoke. Hey, I got that fire. Hey, hey, yo, let's go smoke. Hey, you want some?" Now, mind you, I get, hey, at least they've been nice and polite because they never really, nobody really asked me to chip in or pay for it. They just want to share it and everything. Hey, that's cool. Hey, shout out to y'all for really sharing, but y'all sharing the wrong thing, and that's an unforced error. Y'all sharing the wrong thing. I commend you. I respect that, the camaraderie, willingness to share and all that. I'm not too familiar. Like, I'm a greenhorn. I don't know what the drug prices is like. You start asking for bag sizes and all. I don't know shit. When I say I don't know shit, I stayed away from that shit. I don't know anything. Absolutely nothing. And that's an unforced error because I saw and I was aware of how illegal drugs were used to target young black men, especially young black men, to lock them up or look for a means to put them in that school to prison pipeline because I mean, that's just how society is. That's how society has been for the longest. That's an unforced error because nobody's telling you you need to smoke. I was pressured by peer pressure and all that stuff constantly. When I say every single day, I mean every single day. And I never did it. So y'all can miss me with, I mean, look, my situation, I was a fairly average to above average size kid. I knew how to run, I could run my mouth fairly decent. I had a fairly silver tongue myself. So I was capable of handling myself. If they wanted to play the dozens, I was capable of handling myself. I was also physically capable of handling myself against most, okay? It might not have been for everybody. I get that. But I knew how to do what I needed to do
Finish him!
when I needed to. So for some people, but my thing is find other ways outside of doing the illegal shit. So miss me with that, I was pressured, etc., etc. No, I was pressured too, and I said no. I consistently said no. I said no so much that I remember eventually some of the dudes I was really rocking with, they was like, "Oh no, he don't smoke." They start saying no for me. Somebody would be like, "Hey, you want something?" Like, "Nah, he don't smoke." Yeah, because I didn't smoke, and I made it very clear. I didn't want to look cool. I didn't need to look cool. I didn't give a shit about peer pressure or none of that trying to look cool shit. No, I said no. So unforced error. If you're choosing to do the illegal drugs and partake in that lifestyle, that's an unforced error. I hustled candy. I didn't sell drugs. I hustled candy. I even when I needed to make money and I needed to hustle something, I was like, I am not. Even if I don't use it, I am not going to. No, I'm staying all the way away from that. I'm not even going to associate myself with that. Next unforced error usually comes right behind the drug use. What happens when you got a turf battle? Violence, unnecessary violence. Both again, criminal violence, going to steal, rob people, mug people, even violence against females, which you guys know that's a big old no-no. I, I've upheld that I do not argue with women for a reason. Absolutely not. Unnecessary violence. It's an unforced error because you lost your shit. It shows that, I mean, it shows you had a moment of weakness, mental weakness, emotional weakness, or whatever, and naturally you go to the animal instinct, which is to hit stuff, which is violence. Unnecessary violence in this case. Sometimes you have to be violent to defend yourself. That's necessary violence. I'm talking about the unnecessary violence. I'm talking about somebody says something about your mama. your feelings get hurt and you don't know how to handle yourself. You don't have that silver tongue like I used to, where you could run your mouth and do what you need to do with somebody. Every time you open your mouth, it was, it is what it is. Some of y'all dudes, some of y'all dudes, y'all was naturals. Y'all was like Red Fox, like comedians. Some of y'all dudes, y'all absolutely knew what the hell y'all was doing, and y'all knew how to move the crowd and do what y'all needed to do. Now, I would say if that is one of your weaknesses, get good at it so that you don't have to go through the unnecessary violence. I am aware that some people are pressured into joining gangs. I get that. Like I said, unnecessary violence. If you can avoid gangs, do it at all costs. I am aware of situations where young men are pressured to the point where people are threatened to join gangs. I get it. I understand that because I am aware of it. So I'm not going to say anything stupid like, oh, if you join a gang, you're dumb. No, I know that people have been pressured. That's actually one of the main recruiting tactics for most gangs. They pressure people to the point where, hey, you join my gang, or your mama's house is going to be looking like Swiss cheese. So I know some people that join gangs just so that doesn't happen, just so they protect their family. Because y'all have to realize how some gangs actually work here, where you live on a certain street, that gang has domain over that street or whatever, and they see you as a young man and they're like, "Hey, you're a foot soldier. You working with me." And then if you're not working with them, they take it personal, and then they assume that you're probably working with another gang, and you know, shots fired. But so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm on a moral high ground.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Because I'm aware of situations like that. I'm aware of the situations where people are put in those types of situations. So I know, hey, do what you got to do. If you're going to do it, if you have to do it, if you feel pressure to do it, at least do it in a way where you're trying to get out, where you're not just doing it just to do it. You know, avoid the unnecessary violence. Don't just go around harming people and mugging people. I mean, do what you got. Be smart. That's all I gotta say. Be smart. Be reasonable, and try to get out of it best you can with as little to no actual violence necessary as possible, right? Because yeah, like I said, when it comes to that kind of thing, and that is a tricky situation, because it's one thing to tell somebody something, it's another thing to live it, right? So, which is one of the reasons why, someone who has that type of story, which I do know some people, a few people where they actually did things for a certain reason, you know, I wish they'd tell their stories. The next, the next one, right after violence. So unnecessary violence. After that, sex. Sex is sex is sex, sex, sex. Sex. A lot of people, fall prey to this one, especially you ladies. But this is for the men. I'm not talking to the single mothers, I'm talking to the men that make the single mothers. Guys, I have always said from day one, every woman you deal with is a threat, and you should treat them as such. You should handle yourself as such. Always wrap it up. You don't have to smash everything. I'm more so a man of quality than quantity myself, right? I didn't just go around slinging it. I could have, but I didn't, for a reason. 'Cause like I said, every woman you deal with is a potential threat. Well, and I myself took my own advice. I know,
Shut up!
I know you don't want to hear that. I get it. You got that thing. You've been having wet dreams or whatever. You got to scratch that itch. Fine, but don't. At least wrap up, man. Don't be stupid.
You stupid.
Don't be stupid. Wrap up. Use a condom. If you broke, you shouldn't be getting none to begin. Yo. Okay. If you're too broke, if you too broke to buy condoms to do it properly, if you're too broke to buy condoms to do it properly, I ain't even gonna lie. You shouldn't be getting none to begin with. Like, I want to know who is that bummy hoe you up there laying around with.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Like, real talk. Real talk. If you too broke to buy some damn condoms to do it properly, who is that bummy asshole you laying up with, bro?
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Really? Like, real talk. I don't get it. Done. So, sex. The next unforced error. I swear, man, sometimes dudes be going crazy over that, man. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna lie. Y'all let just for some sex. The guys will, of course, we already know about simping. There's also the thing of proxy violence where you'll come try to cape for somebody. A girl will say, and I've seen this happen because a girl tried to do it on me, and I've seen it happen to another dude. A girl says something about you, and then some dude who's trying to get at her or who's family to her, which outside of the family thing, because we don't do that nasty stuff over here, right? But some dude that's trying to get at her, he want to act all macho and Captain Save a Ho, and she's absolutely in the wrong. She absolutely lied, and I already told you what to do about that. Avoid those chicks if at all possible. I get them way up out my mouth, way up out of here. Get up out of here. I don't want it.
Be gone, fuck!
I don't want it. Get it away from me. I, s- I, mm-mm. I and they be looking at me and give me the eye and everything because I be like, nope. I make it very clear. Just like them girls when y'all be staring at them girls and them girls be peeping you for a second, but she don't want to look at you too long because she don't want to make it seem like she's actually into you when she's really not. I'll do the same thing to them. I'm like, oh shit, please stop looking at me. No, absolutely not. No. So stop doing something strange for a little bit of thing. Unforced error, sex. You guys participating in this gutter sex, ratchet, whatever the fuck you want to call it nowadays. Just, ugh, yuck. Mm-mm, I can't do it. I don't care what you got. I don't care how desperate you think you are, man. Like some of y'all, as soon as y'all see anything even remotely attractive,
Hello there.
y'all all up on it. Like, bro,
What are you doing, step bro?
all up, oh, just all up on the computers and stuff. And, look, do what you gotta do, I guess, to fix your urge or whatever. But just don't get out here doing that unforced error, which is sex. Letting some woman get all up in your mind, all up in your head, because I told you one of the things that women are very effective at doing is making you go goo goo gaga crazy over it and doing dumb shit for it. You go out there, you steal some stuff to try to get her some shit. You go fight some other dude. Remember that other one, unnecessary violence? Yeah. You go fight some dude because of it. You go do some drugs to try to look cool. Remember the other one? Illegal drugs? Yeah. You up here chasing all these hoes around. Remember the other one? Spread too thin? Yeah. Because you up here trying to do all this shit for all these females out here. You trying to have some damn sex. Yeah. That's some of y'all.
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
So yeah, that's another unforced error. And there's many, many other unforced errors. Some of us make them every day. Procrastination, ignorance, which mind you, just you should be trying to learn at least something every day. If you're sitting around, you're not learning anything, that's an unforced error on your part. You should be learning something every day, something, whether it's a new word or something, a new way of doing something. You look into how people are doing certain things in a certain career path you're thinking about, and you learn something new about your career path. Yeah, ignorance could be also another one. But these are just some examples I was giving on some common unforced errors that I see pertaining to young black men because I am a young black man myself. Soon to be 30, not quite there yet. Still got another year to go, but not quite there yet. Will be eventually. And I expect to be better at 30 than I am currently because I'm currently 29. So I expect to be even better at 30 than I was at 29. And I'm better at 29 than I was all the years prior. With the exception of maybe a few years because of my physical fitness. But mentally I am. Physically, I'm stronger, but I ain't gonna lie, I've been eating a bit too much. Shout out to the shout out to the pandemic pudge. All y'all that know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, that pandemic been doing some numbers with the food and everything. Been eating a little too much. Um
Bruh.
Need to get back in the in the cardio gym because I've been lifting the weights, but the cardio has been suffering. I will say that. But please don't become a victim of your through your own accords. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be over here boo-hooing for you because of some shit you decided to do. You got caught up with some drug charge or something that screwed up your scholarship or whatever, and you beat some dude up at a freaking bar one day because he said something about your mama. You spread yourself out too thin for your family and your friends and these hoes out here that you're trying to have sex with. And I didn't even talk about one of the factors that can either help, and it's like a X factor. It's like a factor that can either amplify it, kind of like compound interest, or it can nullify it. And that's your pedigree, your family. That's because this is one of those factors where I believe it can play a big part in how you operate in society and how you assess the risk when it comes to certain activities in your life and whether or not you'll make the right or the wrong decision to commit an unforced error. And if you know anything about business, if you know anything about success outside of this, the reason why this is so important is because we know that the image and perception of black men in society, the prejudice is laziness, failure, weakness, brokenness. Uh, there are some positives when it comes to sex, though, I will say that. But outside of that, it's childishness. We're pretty much like grown children that are fuck boys, pretty much. Only good for fucking, pretty much. Not leading a family or a household, essentially. Financially lower than the other groups have been. And if you know anything about business, if you know anything about having to get out there and build your own, there will be failures. There will be failure. You have to get out there, try stuff, do stuff, fail and fail better. That's actually a quote I did earlier. I forgot who said that quote. But fail and fail better. Meaning every time you fail, you remember how I said guys hate to lose? Every time you fail, you learn how not to fail the next time. Okay, hey, I did this last time. It led to the failure of my business. Let me try to fix that and see if there's any other problems I need to clean up. So now that when I try it again, because I have some perseverance, I'm willing to get out here and just keep trying and trying and trying again until I do it. Now I'm able to persevere, get through the failures, and then eventually I get the win. And then I compound it over time. Well, if you're a young black man, sometimes we don't have that X factor, the proper upbringing. Most of us are raised in a single parent household, and you don't have the support that you're supposed to have, like your peers. Most of the other my other peers, their family, they have family to pay their for their living expenses. They didn't have to work while they were in college. I was working at least three jobs. A part time on the weekend. I didn't have I worked every weekend. Every single weekend I was in college, I worked. I didn't have a weekend off. So I was in classes during the week, studying, work study, my nighttime part study job every now and then when I had some time during the weekdays. I had a morning job that I get up 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning to stock the store. Then I was in class at 8 a.m. Then I did my stuff and my studying, my classes all the way up until about 8 or 9 p.m. at night. And then if I did have because usually I would work the events at the arena. If they had a game that night, I might go and work the game for the night, or I would continue to study and go to the gym and whatnot, and then I'd be in the bed usually by like uh 10 or 11 o'clock, sometimes midnight. Then I'd be right back up at 4 in the morning the next day. So yeah, I actually operated off for quite a while off 4 hours of sleep for quite a while, actually, at a point in college. And yeah, it was hell, but I had to do what I had to do. I knew that I needed money, I needed funds, and instead of going out here partying and doing all this dumb shit, which I did do a couple of parties and whatnot on campus, right? But I made sure when I was doing what I was doing, it wasn't interfering with my greater goal, which was, I needed to pay my bills. I was paying my bills. My mom wasn't paying my bills. My car insurance, my car note, my phone bill, all that, I was paying it. I was paying my stuff. Food, if I needed food, I was getting it. I might need a loan here and there, but it was a loan. It wasn't somebody was paying my stuff for me. No, I paid it back if I needed it. I had plenty of peers where their parents was paying for everything. Their phone, their car, their food. They had a stuff uploaded on their little card every every week or some crap like that. Like, yeah, they didn't have to do shit except go to college. A lot of them actually had what is it, that fund where you save up college money for your kids specifically for that reason. I ain't have shit. I had to take out loans. I'm paying the loans back. Yeah, that was all on me. I pay for everything. All of it. Out of pocket. Mine. Everything I got, I had to earn it. I had to work for it. So instead of I could not commit any unforced errors. One unforced error, everything fucked. One unforced error, it's all done. I couldn't afford any unforced errors. For damn sure not to no fucking drugs. For damn sure not no fucking whore. For damn sure not no unnecessary violence. I had to stop spreading myself too fucking thin for other people because I didn't have any kind of I didn't have a similar amount of support like they did. I wasn't gonna get a slap on the wrist if I was caught with something on me. No, they would have locked my ass up. There goes financial aid gone. Any hopes of a scholarship gone. All of it done, just like that, because of one bad decision. And I knew I was like, hey, let me not, you know, let me not force myself into a corner here. I'd rather not live life with blinders on, like a damn horse, where you can only see forward. You can't see anything, any of your peripherals. I don't want it. I don't want that. I don't want to have to limit myself to certain decisions because of a bad decision. Which is why I know for young black men, which is why I know we don't, we don't, for most of us at least, we don't have the opportunity to have those unforced errors like others. Boo hoo, life ain't fair, yada, yada, yada. Do whatever you want. Say whatever you want to do. Go ahead. Go ahead. But don't nobody give a shit. Don't nobody care. So instead, I want to get out here and win and dominate. Do it myself if I got to, because I got to do what I got to do, right? And for you, I hope that any other young black man that listen to this, you guys kind of realize, don't commit the unforced errors, please. Like, don't fuck it up yourself. Now, if there's some, shit happens. I get that. Shit happens all the time. But don't you be the one to make the shit happen to yourself. Like, don't do that. You should be out here winning. And yes, people are gonna underestimate you, right?
You underestimate my power.
Yes, people will. But don't do anything stupid, okay? Just don't do anything dumb, please.
Uh-oh, retard alert.
So, unforced errors. I wanted to just talk about it. I wanted to kind of put this out there just so if there's anybody, if you had an unforced error, somebody of an unforced error, you want to talk about the unforced error, I might bring it up later on as well. But you can always put a comment down below. Always. So I am about to get up out of here. Let me redirect. All right. So let's bring it back. So unforced errors. It's pretty much you making a decision that directly impacts your life. And usually, well, usually, but I'll pretty much say almost always for the worse. So one of the first ones I talked about today, at least the ones I brushed over today, one, spreading yourself too thin. Two, illicit drug use. Three, unnecessary violence. And then last but not least, chasing skirts. Sexy sex, 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 sex. Unforced errors. Don't let that be you, please. Till next time, y'all.
お前はもう